Hello guys, how are you? Now please tell me, out of three question types in IELTS listening, which do you find the most difficult? Multiple choice, sentence completion, maps. Multiple choice, sentence completion, map. Tell me which question type is most difficult, you can comment. Actually, IELTS listening part 3 is what I call dinosaur of IELTS listening. In this part, dinosaur has 3 to 4 sharp teeth, and these sharp teeth are the type of questions. Number 1, the sharpest teeth in IELTS listening part 3 is multiple choice questions, and I have selected one listening part 3 for you where we are going to solve all 10 questions, and all 10 questions are multiple choice questions. Sometimes your IELTS listening part 3 can be wild, so this is the wildest test. All 10 questions are multiple choice questions, and I'm going to tell you about elimination technique, how to read the question, how to find the answer, how to eliminate the wrong answers. And this is equally good whether you are planning to appear in computer delivered IELTS and paper delivered IELTS. And while solving the test, I have used my own website, my software. Do give me feedback about that website and software as well. And if you want to subscribe to this website or software, you can just contact us on WhatsApp and we'll give you all the details. So let's get started with IELTS listening dinosaur.
Listening part 3, the real game is going to start here. Okay, now we go on. We have listening part 3, and in listening part 3 most of the time we have questions like multiple choice, single or double, and then we have matching type of questions. So questions 21 to 30, choose the correct letter A, B or C. So you got to choose one letter. When they say choose the correct letter A, B or C, it means it is single multiple choice question. Okay. Questions and the audio, obviously they will be in a sequence, otherwise there'll be a lot of mishmash. Okay, so they are in sequence. Study on gender in physics. Study means research, gender means male female, and physics is a subject. So there is a research on male female who study physics. Okay, so the whole thing is about this study. Now they say students in Akira Miyake study. Forget about Akira Miyake, right? Students in study, in research, were all majoring in. So what was their major subject? And by the way, all majoring in. If they say some of them were majoring in physics, that is not our answer. If they say all of them were majoring in psychology or physics, so B will be our answer. Okay, so we need to see all of them were majoring, like their major subject for all of them. Out of three, physics or psychology or physics, or science, technology, engineering or mathematics. We call it STEM as well. STEM, STEM, science, technology, engineering or mathematics. So what was their major subject? Okay, now please listen and answer. An answer is A, B or C. And again, they will check your ability to identify two wrong choices from one right answer. One is right answer, two are wrong answers, and they will discuss all three options, by the way. Okay.
Okay, Greg. So I finally managed to read the article you mentioned, the one about the study on gender in physics.
About the study of college students done by Akira Miyake and his team. Yeah, I was interested that the researchers were actually a mix of psychologists and physicists. That's an unusual combination.
Yeah, I got a little confused at first about which students the study was based on. They weren't actually majoring in physics, they were majoring in what's known as the STEM disciplines. That's science, technology, engineering and
math. Yes, but they were all doing physics courses as part of their studies.
That's correct.
All right. So they were not majoring in, and that is not the right answer. Okay, so correct answer is option C. Now some of you have written A. They were all studying physics, but that was not their major subject. She said they were all studying physics as part of their studies. So she did not say it was their major subject. Now please listen again, and I tell you why A and B are wrong, and then you realize why C is right.
Okay, Greg.
I was interested that the researchers were actually a mix of psychologists and physicists.
Okay, option B, those who wrote option B. So researchers were a mix of psychologists and physicists. Researchers, not students. So option B is gone.
That's an unusual combination.
Yeah, I got a little confused at first about which students the study was based on. They weren't actually majoring in physics.
They weren't actually majoring in physics. Physics is gone as well. So if you identify wrong answers, you will be left with the right answer.
Majoring in what's known as the STEM disciplines.
They were majoring in what's known as the STEM discipline, so science, technology, engineering, or mathematics. Now, let's get going. The aim of study was to investigate. Investigate means to find out. So with one option, they will say what the researchers wanted to find out. Answer will come right after that. What the researchers wanted to know. Okay, what they wanted to know, what they wanted to find out, that will be the right answer. Okay, now we have three options. All right, now we have three options, and what are these options? Okay, kind of women chose to study physics. So if it is kind of women who chose to study physics, A will be the right answer. If they wanted to find out way of improving women's performance, physics is understood, how to improve women's performance in physics, so B will be the right answer for that. Okay, and if they wanted to find out fewer women than men study physics, means more men study physics and fewer women, so then C will be the right answer. So the purpose of study, what they wanted to find out, and just look for that, what the researchers wanted to find out, and after that whatever they say, that will be the right answer. So let's see.
So, as I understood it, Miyake and co. started from the fact that women are underrepresented in introductory physics courses at college, and also that on average, the women who do enroll on these courses perform more poorly than the men. No one really knows why this is the case.
Yeah, but what the researchers wanted to find out was basically what they could do about the relatively low level of the women's results. But in order to find a solution, they needed to find out more about the nature of the problem.
Right.
Okay, what the researchers wanted to find out what they could do about the lower levels of women's performance in physics. So that is way of improving women's performance. Okay, what the researchers wanted to find out. Focus this sentence again.
So, as I
But what the researchers wanted to find out was basically what they could do about the relatively low level of the women's results. But in order to find a solution, they needed to find out more about the nature of the problem.
Right.
Okay. So correct answer is way of improving women's performance in physics. Gradually you will be able to solve listening part 3. If your basic level is weak and you're doing part 3, you have to wait, practice, solve the tests with me, and then it will be fine. Okay, so don't worry, it will be fine. Repetition is the mother of learning. Study plan is there, 8 more listening tests like this which you are going to solve with me, so don't worry. Now, female physics students were wrong to believe. Female physics students, they believed something and their belief was wrong. So out of 3 beliefs, 1 belief which was wrong. The first belief, teachers marked them in an unfair way. Usually, students think that sir didn't give us good marks. Male students expected them to do badly. Male students said women will fail in physics. Okay, so they expected them to do badly, and test results were lower than male students. So if their results were low and all that, now they believed one of these 3 things, and that belief was wrong, and for that they'll say they were wrong. No one was doing it. So where they say no one was wrong and no one was doing it, that will be the right answer. They were wrong, nobody was doing anything like that. Okay, something like this.
Now let's see if I can remember. It was that in the physics class, The female students thought the male students all assumed that women weren't any good at physics. Was that it? And they thought that the men expected them to get poor results in their tests.
That's what the women thought, and that made them nervous, so they did get poor results. But actually they were wrong. No one was making any assumptions about the female students at all.
See that? They were wrong. No one was making any assumptions. So they thought, male students thought that they would get poor results and they got poor results. But they were wrong. No one was making any assumptions about them. Excellent, guys. Very good. B is the right answer. I told you gradually things will be fine. So see, learning is very important before you practice. And if you practice without learning, then you develop so many mistakes in your that practice, and then it's hard to overcome. I know some students who speak very fluent English and very wrong English, okay, at the same time, and they have developed that wrong English. So you need to learn and then you need to practice. Now let's go on. We have question number 24. Miyake's team, that Akira Miyake and their team, asked the students to write about. Now they asked the students to write about what? Okay, they asked the students who participated in the research to write about something. So A, what they enjoyed about physics. So to write about what they enjoyed, and physics is understood. Or write about successful experiences, or write about something that was important to them personally. Now, something that is important to us personally, it can be our hobbies, it can be our time pass, it can be something emotional and all that. Okay, the things we like and the things we love, they are important to us personally. Okay, what they enjoyed about studying physics, like they had fun while doing the practicals or anything like that. Okay, now I play the audio, please listen and answer.
Anyway, what Miyake's team did was quite simple, getting the students to do some writing before they went into the physics class. What did they call it?
Values affirmation. They had to write an essay focusing on things that were significant to them, not particularly to do with the subject they were studying, but more general things like music or people who mattered to them.
Right.
Okay, they had to write about more general things, music, or the people who matter to them. People who matter to them, that is personal. Music, something important to you personally. Music is personal choice. People who matter to you, that is personal choice. Okay, so correct answer is option C. And by the way, in listening part 3, they check this advanced English. Okay. Now, question number 25. What was the aim of writing exercise done by the subjects? So, aim of writing exercise done by subject. Was it to reduce stress? Okay, that is going to be option A if it was to reduce stress. Was it to strengthen their verbal ability? Verbal ability means to communicate, to speak, to express, and all that. Or to encourage logical thinking. So, why did they give them writing exercise? To reduce stress, to strengthen their verbal ability, or to encourage logical thinking? The purpose of that writing exercise.
So the idea of doing the writing is that this gets the students thinking in a positive way.
And putting these thoughts into words can relax them and help them overcome the psychological factors that lead to poor performance. Yeah.
Okay, relax them and help them overcome psychological factor. So what is that psychological factor? That is stress. When something relaxes you, it reduces stress. See that? Please listen again.
So the idea of doing the writing is that this gets the students thinking in a positive way.
And putting these thoughts into words can relax them and help them overcome the psychological factors that lead to poor performance. Yeah.
All right, so A will be the right answer. Okay, that's great. We have 10 multiple choice questions here. Okay, so this test is really challenging. Part 3 is challenging, but that's why I selected it. What surprised the researchers about study? Now, something surprised the researchers. So, what surprised researchers? Out of 3 things, 2 things will be expected. what they were expecting. But one thing they were not expecting, they hadn't thought of it. They hadn't thought about it. They were not expecting that, right? So few students get A grades. If that was expected, it's not the right answer. And if that was surprising, they didn't believe that, they didn't know that, they hadn't thought about it, then it will be the right answer. So out of 3, surprising thing will be the right answer. Okay, positive impact. Okay, so what surprised them? Positive impact it had on physics results for women. So if the positive impact on physics results for women, like before that they were getting C grades and after this they started getting B grades, so it is the positive impact it had on physics results. And difference between male and female performance. So if the difference surprised them, C will be the right answer. The difference between male and female performance. And again, we are talking about physics. Okay, so surprising thing will be the right answer.
But what the researchers in the study hadn't expected was that this one activity raised the women's physics grades from the C to the B range.
A huge change. Pity it wasn't to an A, but still. No, but it does suggest that
Okay, from C to B, right? What they hadn't expected. From C to B, what does it mean? C to B is positive impact. Right? C to B means that is the positive impact. And look at the language that they used.
But what the researchers in the study hadn't expected
What the researchers hadn't expected means surprised.
was that this one activity raised the women's physics grades from the C to the B range.
Okay, from the C to B range, and that is positive impact it had and they hadn't expected. So for surprise, they use that language. And this is what they want to check, that you know this level of English or not. Now, let's go on. Greg and Lisa think. What is it that they think? Miyake's results could have been affected by. Now, the results could have been affected by means they got the results, but if they would have done it in a different way, so the results affected by what? Length of writing task, like 250 words to 350 words, and the results would be different. Okay, so research could affect by length of writing task, that is A. If it could be number of students who took part, B. And if it was information the students were given, right? So what could change the result? Length of writing task could change the result, number of students could change the result, or information the students were given. Now please listen and answer.
Mind you, Miyake's article left out a lot of details, like did the students do the writing just once or several times? And had they been told why they were doing the writing? That might have affected the results.
You mean if they know the researchers thought it might help them to improve, then they just try to fulfill that expectation?
Exactly.
All right, okay, so what's the right answer? Okay, that's good. Correct answer for question number 27 is option C. Okay, now I tell you why A and B are wrong. Don't worry.
So anyway, mind you, Miyake's article left out a lot of details, like did the students do the writing just once or several times?
Okay, did the students do the writing just once or several times? They are not talking about length of writing. They are talking about frequency of writing, once or several times. So A is not the right answer.
And had they been told why they were doing the writing?
Had they been told why they were doing the writing, that is information the students were given. Had they been told why they were doing the writing,
Might have affected the results.
that might have affected the results. So why they were doing the writing means information the students were given that would change the results. This is option C, which is the right answer.
You mean if they know the researchers thought it might help them to improve, then they just try to fulfill that expectation?
Exactly.
That's it. And they did not discuss option B, right? Now, let's go on. Greg and Lisa decide now their decision. Out of 3 options, they are going to decide one thing. So Greg and Lisa decide that in their own project, what are they going to do? They will compare the effects of what? So in their own projects, they're going to compare the effects of what? Two different writing tasks, right? One writing and one oral task, or two different oral tasks. Okay, confusing. So they are going to decide. If they say two different writing tasks, then A. If they say no, one writing and one oral task, then it is B. And if they say it's better to have both oral tasks, and if they say that's fine, so where they agree, where they decide, what they decide will be the right answer. Okay, so please let's see.
So anyway, I thought for our project we could do a similar study, but investigate whether it really was the writing activity that had that result.
OK, so we could ask them to do a writing task about something completely different, something more factual, like a general knowledge topic.
Maybe, or we could have half the students doing a writing task and half doing something else, like an oral task.
Or even half do the same writing task as in the original research and half do a factual writing task. Then we'd see if it really is the topic that made the difference or something else.
That's it. Good. So,
See that? That's it. Good. Some writing task and some factual writing task. So these are two different writing tasks, okay? Some the original writing task and some will do factual writing task. And said, yes, that's it. So correct answer is A. Now I tell you why B and C are wrong. Because unless you understand why B and C are wrong, you will always select the wrong answers, okay? Let's see.
so anyway, I thought for our project we could do a similar study, but investigate whether it really was the writing activity that had that result.
OK, so we could ask them to do a writing task about something completely different, something more factual, like a general knowledge topic.
Now, until this point, we are not clear. It said writing task, but two different writing tasks, one writing, one oral, we are not clear. She said a writing task.
Maybe, or we could have half the students doing a writing task and half doing something else, like...
And he said maybe, but maybe does not mean this is final. Half the students writing task and half oral. But he said maybe. Maybe means it's not decided, it's just a suggestion.
an oral task.
Or even half do the same writing task as
Half do the same writing task
in the original research and half do a factual writing task.
and half do factual writing. So original research writing and factual writing, these are two different writing tasks. A will be the right answer.
Then we'd see if it really is the topic that made the difference or something else.
That's it. Good.
That's it. Good means decided. When the boy says that's it, good, it is decided, okay? All right. And when a girl says that's it, good, she's still confused, all right? Just kidding. All right, don't worry. IELTS will be a very smooth journey for you if you give proper time. If you follow my instructions, nothing will be difficult for you, okay? Now, the main finding of Smolinsky's research, main finding means outcome. What was the main outcome of Smolinsky's research? Okay, so was that class teamwork activities. So what was the main outcome about class teamwork activities? Okay, now most effective when done by all women. So when done by all female, it was most effective. No effect on men or women means it was not gender biased. No effect whether done by women or men, or improved results of men more than women. It affected the results of male than female. So the main finding of Smolinsky's research, Smolinsky is the name.
And there was another article I read by Smolinsky. It was about her research on how women and men perform in mixed teams in class, compared with single-sex teams and on their own.
Let me guess. The women were better at teamwork.
That's what I expected. But actually, the men and the women got the same results whether they were working in teams or on their own.
Okay, men and women got the same results. Men and women got the same results. It means had no effect on the performance of men or women. When they got the same results, it means there was no effect on their performance. So correct answer is option B, had no effect on the performance of men or women. Okay. One last question. What will Lisa and Greg do next? They should go to hell, huh? They have bothered us a lot, okay? So, anyways, what will they do next? I mean, the next step. There are three things, okay? Two things they will do after that. So, what they're going to do second or third, that will not be your answer. Your answer is whatever they are going to do immediately. Next means immediately. So, whatever they're going to do immediately will be your answer. Talk to a professor. If they're going to talk to a professor immediately, then A will be the right answer. Observe a science class. If they're going to do right after this, they're going to go to a science class for observation, then B will be the right answer. Actually, the mouse is on an uneven surface. Okay, and look at the science timetable. So whatever they're going to do next means immediately, and whatever they do second, third will not be your answer.
What worries me anyway is how we're going to get everything done in the time.
We'll be okay now we know what we're doing, though I'm not clear how we assess whether the students in our experiment actually make any progress or not.
No, we may need some advice on that. The main thing's to make sure we have the right size sample, not too big or too small.
That shouldn't be difficult. Right, what do we need to do next? We could have a look at the timetable for the science classes, or perhaps we should just make an appointment to see one of the science professors. That'd be better.
Great, and we could even get to observe one of the classes.
What for?
Well, okay, maybe let's just go with your idea.
Alright.
Right, well, I think that's everything.
So the audio fades out. And you know, this is so alarming that you're waiting for the answer and the audio fades out. Fades out means the section is finished. So what's the right answer? A, B, or C? Right? Come on, come on, come on. You can guess. All right. So correct answer for question number 30 is actually A. Now I tell you why A, why B and C are wrong, okay?
What worries me anyway is how we're going to get everything done in the time.
We'll be okay now we know what we're doing, though I'm not clear how we assess whether the students in our experiment actually make any progress or not.
No, we may need some advice on that. The main thing's to make sure we have the right size sample, not too big or too small.
That shouldn't be difficult. Right, what do we need to do next?
Now answer will come. Before that, all the talk was unnecessary. What do we need to do next? Now you need to listen carefully. So you should know which part of the audio contains the answer. That is very, very important. So what do we do? What do we need to do next?
We could have a look at the timetable for the science classes.
We could have a look at the timetable for the science classes. This is a suggestion. They are not going to do it. Those who selected C, you should know this is just a suggestion given by her, right? We could look at the timetable for the science classes.
Or perhaps we should just make an appointment to see one of the science professors.
Or perhaps we should make an appointment to see one of the science professors. Now, two suggestions. Let's see what will they do next.
That'd be better.
Great.
That would be better. That would be better. For example, would you like to have tea, or I can make you some coffee? That would be better. So what is better, tea or coffee? Come on, come on, come on. You can have some tea, but I can make you some coffee. Ah, that would be better. So tea or coffee? Come on, reply. T for tea, C for coffee. Okay, so that would be better means the second suggestion would be better. We can go to London on weekend, or we can go to New York. Ah, that would be better. So New York would be better means that option would be better. So they are going to talk to a professor. Now the girl is going to give a slap to the boy where he says, let's observe a science class.
And we could even get to observe one of the classes.
What for?
We can observe one of the classes, and the girl says,
Maybe let's just go with your idea.
Or perhaps we should just make an appointment to see one of the science professors. That'd be better.
Great. And we could even get to observe one of the classes.
What for?
Well, okay, maybe
right?
let's...
He said, we can observe one of the science classes. The girl said, what for, huh? So then he said, let's go with your idea. And her idea is talk to a professor.
Alright guys, now the first question is, in the first attempt out of 10 multiple choice questions, how many answers were correct? 10 by 10, 9 by 10, 8 by 10. I want you to comment this video. I mean, this is like a live lecture you have attended. So you are going to tell me out of 10 how many answers are correct. Well done. Very good. And as this is a new series of videos I've made for you, so you should tell me whether I need to continue with it or how I can improve it further and all that, right? So listening is listening, and part 3 is dinosaur of IELTS listening. Gradually you will be all right. First try to understand part 1, then part 2, and then part 3, and finally part 4. All the best. I also teach IELTS online all over the world, and in campus in Lahore, Pakistan, we have study visa consultancy, we have IELTS test booking service in Pakistan, we have 2 wonderful books on IELTS writing and speaking, okay, and then we have a software for IELTS, computer delivered IELTS preparation. If you want to get any of these services, my WhatsApp number is given. You can contact me on WhatsApp. Asad Yaqub wholeheartedly wishes you best of luck. Take care. Allah Hafiz.